Well, good morning, Southern University faculty and staff. This is Brandon Lacey. Of course, I am your online technology and support specialist here at Southern University from the Office of E-Learning. I want to take a moment just to share with you some helpful tips on how to record and upload your video lectures. We're going to go over a few things that you will need to do your recordings, as well as a few things that you should probably have with you when you're doing your recordings. And then after that, we'll go into uploading them not only on YouTube, but onto your Moodle classroom sites as well. All right, the first things that we want to cover are equipment. We want to make sure that you have the right equipment for doing your recordings. Of course, you're going to need a recording device and probably a stand or some type of mount that you could use to keep your recording device steady. Now, of course, in this age of technology, all of our cell phones and tablets that we use come with recording software. So if you have an iPhone, if you have an iPad or Samsung Galaxy phone, Android phone, whatever the case may be, those are very good tools to use to do your recordings. Most of these phones and tablets have the flip camera feature so that you could turn your camera around to face you as if you're taking a selfie. By doing it like that, you can not only record, but you can see yourself as you're recording. Make sure there's nothing going on in your background. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Make sure that you can see yourself and approve your attire, approve your look. You can see whether or not your hair needs to be touched up or makeup needs to be touched up, whatever the case may be. You can use that particular feature. The second thing that you want to make sure that you have is good lighting, sound, and environment. So now we're talking about not just what you're using to record, but where you are when you do your recording. All right, so you want to make sure that if you are in a room, that you're in a room that has good lighting, so it's not too dark, that you're in a room that has good acoustics, so it doesn't sound like you're in a tunnel or there's a lot of echoes or things of that nature. Also, that there's not a lot of background noise, and I know that for those of us who have children, sometimes our children can get a little loud and a little active. So we want to make sure that when we do our recordings, we do them at a time that we know we have a long window before any outside interference or any activity in the background can take place. We don't want any distractions in our video recording. We want a nice, solid, crisp sound when our students are listening to our video lectures. And then environment, in terms of environment, we want to make sure that we're in a room, if we're in a room, that will actually grasp the student's attention. Right now, I'm in an actual classroom. That's a good place to do a video lecture because, again, that gives the classroom feel. So you're in a classroom and your students mentally and subconsciously begin to be drawn into classroom mode. Now, you certainly can be outside doing your video lectures, which also gives a nice atmosphere, gives a peaceful, calm atmosphere, depending on where outside you are. So if you do go outside, you want to make sure that you're in a nice area, maybe with a lot of sunlight, a lot of trees or flowers around you, something that gives an attractive but also calming and peaceful atmosphere, not too calming to where it could possibly lure the students to sleep. But environment, lighting, and sound, those are three important aspects of your video lecture. You know your students better than anybody, so you know what environment is best. However, although the environment can be somewhat flexible, lighting and sound, those are very, very key to video lecturing. The third thing that you want to have and make sure you have in terms of your video lectures is editing software. Now, when we say editing software, there are two, I would say, points on the plane that we could look into, and then you may fall somewhere in between. There's the inexpensive route, and then there's the expensive route. So you may be somebody who wants to go all out with your video lectures. You want to add graphics, you want to add lower thirds, similar to what you're seeing on this particular lecture. You certainly can do that. There's software available for that. If you have an iPhone, your iPhone, all Apple products, whether it's an iPhone or iPad, or if you've purchased a MacBook or MacBook Air, it comes with an editing software installed known as iMovie. And with iMovie, you can take your recording that you do on your phone, immediately upload it to iMovie, and you can begin editing, which means you can take out the parts of your video lecture that you may feel after watching it is unnecessary. You may have stumbled a few times in your lecture and you want to take that out. You can do those particular things. And you can also add graphics, again, pictures. If you want to do some PowerPoints in your lecture as well, you can do that with your editing software. You can also purchase, if you're not an iPhone user or Apple product user, you can also purchase editing software. There are different ranges that some of the software comes in. Or you can simply go the inexpensive or not expensive at all route and just use the split feature or the trim feature in your camera function on your phone. Most phones that you use to record also have the capacity to trim or clip certain parts of the video before you finalize them. All right, so if you are somebody who really wants to go all out with your video lectures, and because of course, the longer the lecture, the more at risk you are for losing the student's attention. But because graphics capture the attention, if you can add graphics, if you can add pictures, if you can add, PowerPoints or whatever, it really heightens the possibility of maintaining the student's attention while you're going through your particular lecture. So that's just a quick overview of some of the things that you can use and will need in order to record your video lecture, just like I've done here. Now I want to show you how to take those video lectures and then add them to your Moodle course for your students to view.